When looking for a robot vacuum and mop for your home, it's pretty difficult now because there are so many different options available. Well, I've tested out a bunch, and here we have a few from Roborock, and these are able to do pretty much anything that you want. Now, also the good news is finding these for a great price. Right now, Amazon Prime Big Deals Days is going on, and these are very affordable. Links will be down in the description, but today we're going to cover which one might be the right one for your home. Over here we have the Roborock Qrevo Edge S5A, and then over here we have the Roborock Saros 10R. Now throughout this video, we're going to be doing direct testing of how they work together and which one has a little bit more features that may be helpful for your home. But one big thing that you can tell the difference on what I'm talking about, the Qrevo Edge S5A has the LiDAR on the top and the Saros 10R does not. A huge thank you to Roborock for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. Now first, let's talk about the app. They're both set in the Roborock app and they have a ton of features in here, so you can go in and you can see your map and everything. It takes just a few minutes to get set up. You can customize this, add flooring and different things on the map and so on. But then here you have the options to quickly vacuum and mop, vacuum, or dock, and then you can set schedules and all kinds of different things. So very similar in what these can do. Now, both of them do have Matter compatibility. So this can integrate directly into Matter as well as your other favorite smart homes through that. So that's really great. Now, the main difference here is on the Saros 10R, you do have the option to do a remote viewing. So this is really fun. You can have it open the camera and you can see where it's going. You can drive it around. You can even pin it and do cruise options and talk right through it, and it will then speak on the other end.
Hurry, pick up your room.
Let's start with a simple suction power test. So over here we have the Rice Krispie treats on both sides. We do have some hair here, very hard to see, but it is there. And then here we have some chocolate chips. So with the Saros 10R, that is able to do 22,000 Pascal with hyperforce suction. And then over here with the Qrevo Edge S5A, we have 18,500 Pascal of suction power. Now with all this, it's gonna be 99.5% of the dirt and hair that is in your floors. And there the S5A was able to pick up those chocolate chips, no problem. Here I have turned it to Max Plus, so it's really getting every possible crumb on the floor. And look at that, completely cleaning under it. That was a really nice pass. Now, of course, these might go in all kinds of different directions. I've just done a little Zoe cleaning. Clean up on aisle 2.
Emptying dustbin.
And taking a look at the floor after, it picked up every chocolate chip. All of the hair is gone. Now there are some crumbs that happens when it does the side brush. So if you have a lot of crumbs, you may want to do dual passes, but it did a great job picking it up. And then once it heads back to the base station, it's going to empty it out into the dustbin. And the dustbin is right here on the Saros 10R and here on the Qrevo Edge S5A. Both of these did a great job in vacuuming up the floor, and I think they both have plenty of suction power, whether it's going to be hardwood floor or carpet. But the main thing here is, did any hair get stuck on the bottom brushes? Now, these both have a zero tangling system with duo divide brushes. So that means that the hair is going to go to the middle and come through so that there's nothing stuck on the bottom. And then it has zero tangling side brushes. Let's see how they look. First, taking a look at the S5A. Here on the bottom, you can see those duo divide brushes. So they're now separate, so the hair goes into here and into the dustbin, which is great. Zero hair is on there, which other robots, sometimes you'll see on the edge that hair is stuck and you have to go and clean it off. Awesome, it's not there. And then here on the side brush, you don't have any there. Now this is actually the flexi arm design. More on that in a minute. We're gonna test this in the room to see how that does. And then here on the Saros 10R, we have the same duo divide design. Again, no hair is on there, which is so great. And that same type of side brush. They're both headed off to vacuum the bedroom. But one thing I want to point out about the Saros 10R is it left its mop pads behind. So maybe you're doing some vacuuming and then mopping and you don't want the mop pads to go over the carpet. They can lift up on the robot itself, same with the S5A, but here the 10R can leave the mop pads, which is great to help the carpet stay dry. Now in your home, you may have a threshold where between one floor to the other or one carpet to the other, it might have to go over a little bit of a bump. Well, that's the great thing about the Saros 10R is it can go up a 4 centimeter, 1.57 inch bump with its Adapti-Lift chassis. So there you can see that was super easy. I didn't do that big enough, but other times it will actually lift up the front bump and then kind of jump over, and it's able to do a few different approaches to make sure that it never gets stuck. Now I love how thin this is. It's able to get under everything. Now usually I say that, but see this bar? All other robots cannot fully clean under this because of that bar. The Saros 10R, let's see how it does. This is Roborock's thinnest robot ever, coming in at 7.98 centimeters or 3.14 inches, and is able to go all the way under. I have never seen a robot vacuum be able to do that. That's crazy. And here's where vacuuming the floor. It is using its side brush to pick up everything around the corner and the edges. And so there, when we are done with this room, we'll check, see if there's any hair. And here in the corner, it's able to use its flexi arm to extend that brush all the way out to the edge to get anything that's caught on that corner. And here the S5A just isn't quite able to get as far down under there. It's doing a great job, but wasn't fully under that bar. And even though it does have its mop pads on, it has lifted it up about 10 millimeters off the ground, so it shouldn't be touching the floor very much. Well, this room is cleaner than it's ever been. Let's take a look. Now, after cleaning a full room, we can see that there still is no hair. That's perfect. Over on the side brush, nothing there. And then on the main brush. Now, I love seeing the flexi arm design go into the corner whenever it got there to really clean that out. And then if we go ahead and pull off the top, so in there you can see all the dust that it got and all of that hair is in there. That's awesome that it's not on the robot. It's in here. It's automatically going to be pulled out into the base station. And over on the Saros 10R, you can see the flexi arm riser is stuck in there right now, but no hair on there, no hair here, maybe one piece, but as it's turning, it's slowly going inside here. And we can even investigate further. Those each come out. That works pretty great. Maybe there was one piece of hair. And here inside the dustbin.
Dustbin removed.
There you can see all of that dirt is in there and plenty of hair as well. You can see it all the way down in there. So again, this is gonna go back to the station and we'll never see it, which is awesome.
Dustbin installed.
And that's the Zero-Tangle Design.
This is pretty relaxing watching them clean for the day. Well, now to the next hardest part for me to clean, easy for them, is mopping the floor. So they both have the dual spinning brushes on the bottom where they can easily clean the floor. I've already put water in the tank here. It's gonna clean and it can then auto empty the dirty water into here. And you can even set where it will automatically detect if there's dirt and it needs to re-clean the floor.
Here you can see many of those carpet cleaning settings. So it's great that you have total choice in exactly what the robot is doing. You can even have it just avoid the carpets, cross or ignore. And then in here you have all kinds of floor cleaning settings as well that can be adjusted. So we can turn on the flexi arm design to extend for cleaning crevices. And we have some other auto remopping and other features as well. And then you can even come in here and adjust the cleaning pattern. Tons of things you can do here in the Roborock app. And look at how that mop pad is working. It's doing a nice job really scrubbing that floor. We are just about done cleaning the floor over here. So right at this line, we did not clean over on this side. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but there is quite a bit of crumbs and gunk on the floor that need to be picked up. But over here, this is looking super crisp and clean, and so much the kids are ready to play on the floor. They love a clean floor.
wash the mop.
Now, while it is cleaning, you do have a few options in the app where you can have it go back and wash the mop pad every so often. I think mine is set at default at like 20 minutes. You also have the option in those settings, like I showed, that you can go in and have it remop areas if it does detect that they are dirty. Now, just finished the cleaning. Let's check out the mop pads. There you can see they are pretty dirty. So it's gonna go through, do the cleaning, and we'll check them out after. I have now gone through and mopped the entire floor again, and let's check out how these mop pads are looking. And those look brand new. So after it's done mopping, comes back, cleans them, and then the hot air drying. And these have been sitting for a day, and those look really great. And here, these are also looking very clean and fresh, just like brand new. And they're ready for the next cleaning. And now let's talk about these multifunctional docks.
Now the mopping capabilities between these two were very similar. They did a wonderful job. Now we're headed back here to the multifunctional dock. Now we have a multifunctional dock 3.0 on the Qrevo Edge. And then over here on the Saros, we have the multifunctional dock 4.0. So what is the difference? Well, they both have the ability to wash the mop pads with warm water. Here we can do 75 degrees Celsius, or I think it's up to 167 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're gonna have a really clean 99.9% bacteria removed from those mop pads when it goes through and does the cleaning. Over here we have up to 80 degrees Celsius or 176 degrees Fahrenheit to really get those clean. So a little bit more cleaning over there. The next, both of these have the intelligent dirt detection where it can detect if there was enough dirt in the water to then need another cleaning. They both have hot air drying. So it's gonna take about 3 hours where it's gonna come back and dry those mop pads, which is great. So there's not extra mildew or anything built up over on them. And then of course they have the auto dust emptying. So they come back, and I love that suction sound when it pulls it all out, and it's putting in here for a long term, 30 to 60 days, I think. And you can easily replace those bags. And then it can automatically empty the water into the dirty water bin here. So just a little bit in there and a little bit in here. So we'll need to regularly make sure that we dump those out so those are clean. Now, some of the other big benefits of the Saros 10R is it has that mop pad removal. So it can drop the mop pads and leave, which is great if you are doing just carpet only and going back and forth between mopping. Then it doesn't have to put the mop pads over the carpet, because if your carpet is wet, somebody steps on it, gets dirty, then that's when the carpet gets the most dirty. So if you can prevent that, I think that's a great idea to have those mop pads be released. Another thing is this has fast charging. So it can charge in 2.5 hours all the way back up. So if you have a large area, that's going to be a great option to have in your home so that you can keep cleaning nonstop. And lastly, over here, we have auto water refilling, and then you also have detergent. So in here, there is a little detergent thing, so you can just quickly fill that up, and then it will be able to use that and put detergent on the floor when it's mopping. So it's great that that has been added. You don't need to buy like their specific one. You could just use this, fill it up, and you are good to go. It's now time for the last test between these two robots. We're going to do the obstacle avoidance test. I'm going to set up a route and see how they both function. They are a little different in how they navigate. Let's get that set up. Now, the arch nemesis of any robot vacuum and mop is items that are on the floor, because if you send it out to clean, you leave, and you come back and it has gotten stuck on something, that's not very fun, because then you have to clean it up and then your floor is still not clean. So today we're gonna do a test to see the difference between the obstacle avoidance systems on these two robots. First, with the Qrevo Edge S5A, we have a PreciSense navigation system. They're also calling it the reactive tech obstacle avoidance. So is how this is working. It's using the LiDAR on the top. So LiDAR is a light that's being sent in a circle so it can see all objects from every direction. If it comes up to it, it will stop and go the other way. It also has other sensors here and here to be able to navigate around and adjust if an object comes in its way. So that does a good job of avoiding the different obstacles. Now on the Saros 10R, it's using the StarSight Autonomous System 2.0. So this has a time of flight sensor, and it's able to send out this 3D mapping system of 21,600 points to be able to see all the objects in its path. Here, looking at this infrared vision, you can see all those little dots around, and that's it being able to detect in all those different points, so it knows what is around it, where it's going. So on the front here, we have an RGB camera that we use to be able to see it. It's also using that to avoid obstacles. And there we have the StarSight Autonomous System logo. And then here you have that sensor. And then over on the side, there is another sensor, and on the back, there is another StarSight sensor. So it's not just using one StarSight, it has both front and back to be able to see all the objects in its path for better navigation and obstacle avoidance. So this can do socks, cars, cables, all those things. So let's put both of these to the test to see how they handle my obstacle course. So here we have some common items that you would find around my home on the floor, you know, shoes, droppings, cords. Let's see how the S5A does. First, when it does a zone cleaning, it's gonna go around the outside and then get to the inside. And just enough room to get by the sock. Now you have the option to adjust the carpet edge cleaning. So here it's doing its final cleaning between the hardwood and the carpet. Love how it's doing that deep cleaning because I always find crumbs right along this edge. And there it does see the droppings and is able to get as close as it can without touching. Next up we have the shoe, and there it gets very close. I think it's okay if it bumps into things, that's great. And the side brush helped kind of put the shoelaces out of the way so it didn't get caught. That was great. And look how nice it goes around that shoe. Perfect. Heading over to the sock. Oh, gets pretty close, but it did see it. And there again, second pass, saw it, and it handled that with care. Not quite able to see the cord on the floor. See, this could be a problem. And I did put a car out. It didn't quite see it. It is pretty small. And the Qrevo Edge S5A finishes the obstacle course, and it did very well except for the cords, just because they're so thin, so small to the floor. And in the app, you can even see that it encountered different obstacles, so it's labeling there, so you can see why it may have not cleaned a certain spot. It is now the Saros 10R's turn, and here we go. First up, the small cable. Definitely seeing something and avoiding it. All right, so far so good. It's saying, wow, there's a lot of things on the way. Let's be cautious. And you can see it's doing the same with the sock. I love how it's putting out the side riser mop to be able to clean right up next to the object. All right, as you can see there, it's seeing that there's something in the way, so it is now trying to avoid that and cleaning as close as it can around it. Great job. And up to the mess there, it handled that like a champ. Now I really haven't given it much room to mop, but it is mopping where it can very well. There you saw the mop pads lift up to then go on the carpet. I'm really impressed that it's avoiding this car. Usually they just run right into them and eventually climb over it somehow, but that's great that it totally avoided it. And again, putting out its mop to get close to it. I love how I can see it looking at objects and then turning the other way, just like our eyes. That's a very human-like feature. And last up, we have the shoe. There, easily sees that, gets very close. Oh, did you see it lift that brush? That was cool. And there, I think it sees that shoelace, wants to avoid it so that at all costs it does not get stuck, so it can continue its mission. Oh, we have a live obstacle in the way. It avoided it. And there, the Saros 10 flawlessly passes my obstacle avoidance course. And here with my security camera and the night vision on, you can see that star sight sensor putting those dots all over the place so it knows all the different objects that are there. Here with my camera, you can see in a dark room, it does turn on the lights so that it can have better navigation as well. Now, it was really cool to be able to see these react with their different obstacle avoidance techniques to my obstacle course. With the S5A, the reactive avoidance, it was able to go around, saw many of those objects from far away, but it was able to get extremely close to them and get them cleaned. The cord is the hardest object to avoid, so that happens, but being able to avoid everything else was great. So if you don't have cords or tiny toys around your home, I think the S5A is gonna have no problem avoiding everything to be able to complete its cleaning every time. With the Saros 10R, having those dots with the Star Sight 2.0 everywhere is crazy how it can see so fine detailed of objects, being able to avoid the cords, the car, everything. So if you do have a lot of kids as they're running around everywhere here in your home, I think this is a great option to make sure that it completes the cleaning without getting stuck on anything that is in the way. So these did a really great job in handling those obstacles. Now there's one final feature on the Saros 10R that I think is pretty cool that separates this, and that is it has its own voice assistant built in. So you can connect this to the typical voice assistants, but built in here is the Roborock voice assistant Rocky. So you can ask it to do all kinds of things. You can say, clean this room, clean that room. And even if your robot goes offline, you can still use this. So you'll be able to have it clean just by voice. So let's test out how that works. So typical day, the kids make a mess. All I have to do is say, hello, Rocky.
I'm here.
Clean here.
I am trying to find you. Stay there and wait a moment.
All right.
I have found you and will start cleaning immediately. You can step aside for a moment.
So there, it found where I am. It's now going to clean that area. It told me to move to the side, and it's exactly where I was. I didn't have to go to the app. I didn't have to create a zone,
Target reached.
anything like that. That's so cool that it can automatically clean where I want it to, and there are a ton of other voice commands you can use. Now, if you are trying to decide between one of these for your robot mop and vacuum in your home, they are both really great options. They did an excellent job with everything I had to do, and there are a ton more features in the Roborock app where you can customize what they do and schedule and other things like that. Now, if you want to know which one's right for you, depends on your home. So if you're looking for a robot vacuum mop that's doing a great job and can really handle all the different things in your home, both going to be a great option. The Qrevo Edge S5A is going to save you some money, but if you want some of those enhanced features like your built-in voice assistant, the chassis lift, being able to go over a threshold in your home, or you need that super thin robot with the best obstacle avoidance, definitely the Roborock Saros 10R is the way to go. But I love how both of these, zero tangling, no hair was stuck on these at all, and they did a great job mopping the floor. This looks so great. So if you have any further questions about these, make sure you let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to pick one of these up for Amazon's big Prime Day deals, make sure you check out the links down in the description for those awesome discounts. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.